The rain hadn't stopped for 3 days straight. It wasn't unusual for Portland. Gray skies were the city's second skin, but for Ethan Ward, the sound had started to feel personal. Like the world outside his window knew something he didn't. He stood by the kitchen counter that Friday morning, watching droplets streak down the glass. His wife, Clara, moved behind him with her usual precision: toast, coffee, laptop. Everything she did was quiet, measured. Even the scrape of her spoon against her mug sounded rehearsed. Ethan turned slightly, studying her. "Morning," he said. "Morning," she replied, without looking up. There was a time she would have smiled then, a half-sleepy, half-playful curve of her lips before pressing a kiss to his shoulder. Now, her attention was on her phone. She wasn't cold exactly. Just absent. "Big day at the gallery?" Ethan asked, trying to keep his tone light. Clara nodded. "The new exhibit opens tonight. The owner's been breathing down my neck about every detail." He smiled faintly. "You'll make it perfect. You always do." That earned him a flicker of something, maybe gratitude, maybe guilt, before she slipped her phone into her purse. "I'll probably be home late." Of course she would. She was always home late lately. By noon, the rain had eased, leaving the city wrapped in mist. Ethan sat in his office downtown, staring at spreadsheets he couldn't focus on. He ran a small architecture firm, 6 employees, one shared espresso machine, endless client deadlines, but his mind wasn't in the blueprints today. It had been 6 months since Clara had started her new job as an assistant curator at the Hawthorne Gallery. 6 months since she began coming home smelling faintly of wine and perfume that wasn't hers. He'd told himself it was stress. A new environment. Longer hours. But beneath that rationalization was a steady hum of unease. Last night, he'd reached for her in bed. She'd flinched. Not dramatically, just a tiny recoil, like she'd forgotten he was there. And that hurt more than if she'd pulled away completely. That evening, Ethan stood in front of the bathroom mirror, adjusting his collar. Clara had texted that morning, "Don't wait up. Gallery opening runs late." He'd decided to surprise her. Bring flowers. Support her. Or maybe, if he was honest, to see. The gallery buzzed with soft chatter and the clinking of glasses when he arrived. Warm light spilled across white walls lined with abstract paintings. Portland's art crowd, black clothes, confident laughter, half-finished drinks. He spotted Clara across the room almost instantly. She stood near a tall man with dark hair and sharp posture, laughing, really laughing, in a way he hadn't seen in months. Ethan froze. The man touched her wrist lightly, guiding her toward one of the installations. The gesture was casual. Too casual. Ethan felt something cold tighten in his chest. He forced himself to move closer, his footsteps muted against the polished floor. When Clara saw him, her smile faltered for the briefest second. "Ethan. I didn't know you were coming." Her tone was too bright. "I wanted to surprise you." He looked at the man. "You going to introduce me?" Clara hesitated. "This is Adrian Cole, the head curator. My boss." Adrian extended his hand. "Ethan, right? Clara's told me a lot about you." Ethan shook it, his jaw tight. "Hope it's all good things." Adrian smiled, smooth, confident. "Of course." For the next few minutes, the three of them made small talk, but Ethan's focus was on every glance, every shift of body language between them. The way Clara's eyes flicked toward Adrian and back again. The slight, unthinking mirroring of posture. When Adrian was called away by another guest, Ethan turned to Clara. "So that's your boss?" She took a sip of her wine. "He seems close." She blinked. "Close. You two seem comfortable." Her shoulders stiffened. "He's my boss, Ethan. That's all." Right, he said quietly. Just your boss. They drove home in silence. The windshield wipers beat a slow rhythm. Clara stared out the window. Ethan's knuckles were white on the steering wheel. When they pulled into the driveway, she opened the door without waiting for him to kill the engine. I'm exhausted, she said flatly, heading inside. Ethan followed her into the kitchen. Clara. She paused. Are you seeing him? The question hummed between them like smoke. She froze, only for a heartbeat, then exhaled. You're imagining things. He stared at her, the floor seeming to tilt. Then look me in the eye and tell me that. She did. I'm not seeing him. But her voice cracked, just barely, and that was all it took. Days turned into weeks, and the silence grew thicker. Ethan tried to pretend things were fine, dinners, TV, laughter on command, but their home felt like a stage set, all props and no soul. He started noticing smaller things. Her phone always face down on the table. Her sudden need for space. Her new lingerie, bought without a word. One night, when she said she was working late again, Ethan drove to the gallery. It was dark. Closed. Her car wasn't there. He sat in his truck for a long time, rain drumming on the roof. Then he called her. She answered on the third ring. Hey. Where are you? At the gallery. Inventory night. His stomach twisted. Really? Because I'm parked outside. Silence. Then, Ethan, please. He hung up. When she came home an hour later, soaked and trembling, he was waiting. Who is he? Her eyes glistened. You don't want me to answer that. Try me. She dropped her purse on the counter. It started months ago. I didn't plan it, Ethan. It just happened. He felt the air leave his lungs. Adrian. She nodded. He laughed, a sound that didn't feel like laughter at all. Christ, Clara. I was lonely, she said, tears breaking through now. You were always working, always tired, and he. Don't. His voice was sharp, shaking. Don't you dare make this my fault. I'm not. You let him touch you, he whispered. You let him take what was ours. I'm sorry. The apology felt useless, brittle. He turned away, gripping the edge of the table to steady himself. Get out. She froze. What? Go stay with him. Or wherever. Just, not here. Clara left that night. Ethan didn't sleep. For days, the house was too quiet, every creak and shadow a reminder of her absence. He tried to work, to eat, to breathe. But the images kept replaying, her laughter, her lies, her eyes. Then, one afternoon, a message appeared on his phone. From Clara, please, can we talk? Just once. I need to explain. Against his better judgment, he agreed. They met at a small cafe on Burnside, the kind they used to go to on Sundays. She looked thinner, paler. The ring was gone. I ended it, she said softly. With him. It was a mistake. Ethan stared at his coffee. You think that makes it better? No. But I needed you to know. He met her gaze. Why now? Because I still love you. The words should have meant something. But they didn't. He finished his drink and stood. You loved me enough to lie. That's all I need to remember. And he walked out. 2 months later, the divorce papers arrived. Clean. Efficient. Final. He signed them at his desk, sunlight spilling across the wood. For a moment, he thought he'd feel relief, but instead, there was only emptiness. That night, he drove out to the coast. The ocean stretched out, endless and gray, waves rolling against the rocks like heartbeat and breath. He stood there until the wind stung his face and the cold bit through his jacket. In the distance, the sky began to clear, just slightly, a thin line of pale light breaking through. Maybe that was enough. Maybe some endings didn't need to be clean to be honest.